Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about Video Horror Society yet again, and it's been a while since this game has been out, so I thought that I would go ahead and re-review it, see what has changed, see what the state of the game is, and see if it's still worth your time to play. Now, in my original review, I did state that the game had quite a lot of issues to work through, but overall it was a pretty fun game, and I did recommend it, so today we're going to see if that opinion changes. The one opinion that did not change is I still think that VHS is a good game, but it does still need a lot of work, and unfortunately, that might be its downfall. I've seen a lot of reviews on Steam, and for the most part, the community seems to be mixed. There's some people that loves the game, some people that hates the game, and really, I'm just trying to look at it from both sides in this video. So if we start with the teen is very fun and it is rewarding to play, and the game has built-in voice chat. You're able to ping. It's got a good UI system. You can see where your teammates are at to kind of work together. um, just by looking at their icons on the left, you can see if they're crafting anything, if they have anything, and there's a lot of information laid out for the teen. Now the game is very different when you compare it to like Dead by Daylight for the teens, since it's really all about hiding and communicating with your team rather than trying to run the monster around. If you do it in this game, you're probably going to die pretty quickly and get downed. And I feel like the maps are pretty good in this game for the most part. Everything seems to be balanced towards teen and monster. Everything's pretty spread out. There's a lot of cover, there's places to hide. So I think for teen, it's a very enjoyable experience to hop in, you know, work with your team, and learn the maps and see what kind of strategies that you can come up with to defeat the monster. There's a lot that you have to take in account, like, trying to set up ambushes, your crafting time with weapons, the monster's location, if you're being chased, things like that. In this game, you do have to rely on teammates. So for solo players, even myself, I found that this game isn't as fun if I play it alone. But overall, I would say teen is in a good spot, and not really anything needs to be changed in that aspect as far as fun. Now, Monster is where this game has really been struggling since it came out, and it seems to be where people have the most mixed opinions, so let's talk about that. So, in my opinion, I still think that the Monster is very fun and rewarding, but at times it can be frustrating or even irritating. So, the first games that you play as Monster, it feels fun and exciting and interesting because you've never played the monster before, and the game has an MMR system. So you'll go against, maybe some newer players. You'll be able to do pretty good as monster. But as monster, it is a little bit more stressful. You're in first person instead of third person, so you don't have as much field of view. You have to rely a lot on game sound, very heavily to find people. I know with Werewolf, he seems to be a little easier in my opinion to play, because you can hunt down the heartbeat and things like that. And then you have Wart, who has the echolocation ability, and Dollmaster just has really good map control. So I think as far as like the balance there, everything seems to be good. But any character that you play as far as monster, you're gonna have to rely on the game sound pretty heavily, such as like objects being knocked down, crafting stations, breathing, footsteps, and you can even look on the ground and find like the blood trails. Now, as you start to play Monster and improve, your MMR is going to go up. So, of course, that's, I think, where the problem starts coming in with Monster. It gets pretty frustrating since, later on the teens will have better communication. They'll try to ambush you more. They start to work together more, and they'll try to craft all the weapons by the time that you start a chase, and you might have someone down, but then someone has 3 weapons that you got to worry about. This is where it gets frustrating because sometimes, higher elo teams will tend to group up more with weapons and, try to kill the monster. And for a newer monster, that doesn't really have their ability timing down, it's very hard to defeat a teen. Now, I will say that I do actually win more as monster than I do as teen. And that's just because, if you're playing as monster, you really only have to rely on yourself, but if you play on teen, you're also relying on others to try to work with you and get their kills off as well. So like I said, teen always feels fun to play. It's rewarding to play. I think that it's really fun to craft a weapon, banish the monster, the thrill of setting up ambushes, working with your team and everything like that. But The problem is the queue times still, even a month later into this review. There's plenty of times where I would say more than half of my hours are for queue times. I've watched plenty of YouTube videos, plenty of streams, just to wait in 15, 20-minute queue times. And then I get put into a bugged lobby that doesn't fill up. Or, we finally get into a lobby and someone leaves, like the killer leaves. So it is frustrating as a teen when you're trying to find a game, but you're waiting like 8 to 30 minutes for a game, especially if you're playing with friends. That's when it gets even worse. There's times I've had to wait 40 minutes with friends, restarting the queue. So that is very frustrating, and I feel like that's where a lot of the player base left. And then you wait that, 20 minutes or so just to get camped or tunneled out by the monster. So I think this is why, hiding and communicating is essential when you're playing as teen, because you wait so long for a game, you don't want to just be tunneled out, and it can be frustrating. But that doesn't mean that Monster doesn't have cons either. I think that Monster is always stressful to play. No matter how much I've played Monster, it always feels more stressful than Teen, for sure. With teens, you have communication skills, and that can start being frustrating for you if they start grouping up. And you'll think that you'll have the kill, but all of a sudden you're getting ambushed by teens, and then you throw that on top of trying to manage your cooldowns. You have with doll master, you have your dolls that you have to try to keep in contact with, make sure they're not getting destroyed, disabled, things like that. There's a lot of pressure on you as a killer to try to kill the teens, especially when they're trying to group up and ambush. You got to really work those cooldowns, and I feel like with the killers, they're just not that satisfying, because War and Werewolf kind of feels very similar. They're both set up to get easy hits and chases and things like that because of the speed boost. And War can armor themselves and take the extra hit, and then the Werewolf can howl and get rid of that. But I feel like Dollmaster is really the only creative killer and fun killer. And I feel like that brings more enjoyment when I play like Dollmaster, because I can have more control of the map, but I don't have the speed of the werewolf, or I don't have the information of War or the werewolf. So that's kind of like a trade-off as well. But at the end of the day, the teens have so much utility. They have pop cans, they have the food items, they have radios, the chompy bars is what I meant to say, noise makers to kind of throw off your sound, and much more. And I feel like that it's a lot for newer players to manage when they're playing Monster, and you also have to worry about being banished and ambushed and things like that on top of it. So this is where everyone gets mixed opinions, is where the changes should start coming in. I think that their main priority right now should be to fix the matchmaking, and they have applied some changes and they've been working on it, but I feel like that they're just not doing enough. The Steam charts show that this game is losing players. Like, when I first started playing, there was like 3,000 people average, then 2,000, then 1,000, and now I'm seeing like 900. Something needs to be changed. So matchmaking should definitely be their number one priority. Maybe if it even involves them getting rid of the MMR system for now, that would make for some imbalanced games. But, people need to play your game to stay in the game in the first place. So maybe they need to tweak that to be less strict, or, maybe after, 3 minutes, if you don't find a game, it turns off the MMR for you, where you can go in and, toggle it on and off if you want to wait longer. I just feel like they could be doing so much more to fix the matchmaking. And I think on the other hand, the monsters need more utilities at their disposal. So teens really have everything that they could need for any situation, but as a monster, you got to work the cooldowns. You got to, watch your corners, watch for ambushes, try to remember what teen was at what station. And at times, I think it's just, a lot more enjoyable to go load into teen than it is monster. And there's just not really an incentive for monster, and that also hurts the queue times. So I don't think that the game is dead yet, and I'll tell you why. I think the game just needs a bigger, dedicated fan base, and they haven't really been advertising the game, because I feel like they're trying to get it as ready as possible before they start advertising. But right now, I really think that the game isn't worth your time. I've changed my opinion on the review. I've really enjoyed VHS, but in all reality, I would much rather go play another game than to wait in a queue and get an unbalanced match for like 30 minutes. And that's just how it is. That's how most other people think as well. That's why they're leaving the game. So, maybe if they can fix the matchmaking and make Monster a little less stressful for players, I feel like they're going to be able to retain more players. But like I said, I don't think that the game is completely dead yet. And I'm really hoping that they can, get on the right track and make the right fixes to matchmaking and Monster. I really don't think that teen is the issue here. You know, because they still have to work together at the end of the day, but definitely a lot of issues to be sorted. Yeah, as a side note, I would love to recommend this game to newcomers and, anyone that likes this kind of genre of game. But, as of right now, the queue times, the lobby bugs, the frustrations of playing Monster is driving people away. So right now, I would just stay clear and hope that the devs, turn things around. I've seen things turn around for games like this before, and I definitely think that VHS can do it as well. Yeah, that's enough of my ranting. I'm going to go ahead and let you all go. Thank you so much for watching, and I would love to know your opinions down below. Do you, recommend the game? Do you agree with the points I made? Do you disagree? I'd really like to have a discussion, so be sure to tell me below. And again, thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next video. Be safe. Peace out.